How's it going, everyone? AZPlow21 back with more WMMA here in our UFC save. This is episode now number 11. So we just finished up UFC 249, Khabib versus Ferguson, and if you haven't already watched that, I do recommend that you go watch that video. It is very important to a majority of this save. It's our first pay-per-view of the save, and so obviously super important. The pay-per-views are going to be the most important shows that we have on this save. They're going to have the majority of the title fights and a majority of the important fights. So go ahead and check that video out if you haven't done so already. But today we have for you UFC on ESPN Fight Night, Overeem versus Dos Santos 2. Here is the main card for that show. Here are the prelims. Go ahead and pause if you want to take a closer look at it. But let's go ahead and get started by looking through our mail. And I do want to announce that we have released somebody due to a drug test failure. So Tony Gravely won. He won a fight against Jack Shore at Moraes versus Sanhagen, but he did test positive for PEDs, so we have promptly released him. Now, we have a couple good news. Calvillo, Gastelum, and Frankie Edgar have all extended their deals, so we look forward to working with them a little bit more in the future. Everyone has made weight successfully for this fight night, and so, I mean, there's nothing really else that we have to do. Let's go ahead and get right to the fight card, Overeem versus Dos Santos 2. We have all of our broadcasters already set up, and of course, we are not booking anything until the conclusion of this fight card, because we're going to book through August, I believe. In our next video, that's going to be a big stream where I spend probably a good 2 hours or so just booking the entirety of August. And let me know down in the comments, would you guys rather prefer that I just, record a bunch of episodes, in a row and release them? Or would you rather stick to what I've been doing, which is streaming these videos and then putting them on YouTube? Because, I mean, I can just record a bunch of these and do them like quick fire back to back to back to back. But I do enjoy streaming, and I know for 100% fact that I will stream the pay-per-views. But the only thing is I want to make sure that I have like a good audience, because I know there's only been about 5-ish people joining me for every stream. So if you guys want to see those streams, go ahead and follow my Twitch channel and be sure to catch all the streams that I do through that avenue. I know it's going to be kind of hard for everybody, because I know I have a lot of people who watch me in the UK and things like that, so time difference is probably pretty weird. But let me know down below if you want me to just quick fire the main cards and then kind of just stream the pay-per-views, or if you want me to stream everything so that way you have like a little bit more of a chance to catch me on stream. Just let me know what you guys are thinking. But as you can see, here is the schedule of all of our fight nights that we got going on. Of course, this next month is leading up to UFC 250, Usman versus Masvidal. So be sure to stay tuned as we get that going. But as for now, let's go ahead and get right on into the fight night, Overeem versus Dos Santos 2. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Of course, we are in Nevada because a little bit of mistake on my part. Just kind of left it in Nevada. It's okay. We stay in town for another week or so, as we have our first fight of the afternoon, and it's a couple of debuts. Shuya Kamikubo taking on Joshua Kulabau. Nothing really known about either of these guys. Pancration taking on MMA. I'll go ahead and take Kamikubo. He's slightly favored. And it's actually Joshua Kulabau who takes it via TKO in round number 3. He improves to 6-0. And he celebrates winning his debut fight for the UFC. All right, coming up next, it's Karolina Wojcik taking on Mallory Martin. Martin is 6-3, taking on 5-1 in Karolina Wojcik. A 2-inch advantage for Mallory Martin, and she's heavily favored. So my guess is that she'll actually go ahead and pull this one off, and she does via unanimous decision. A little bit of a boring fight, but that's okay. Mallory Martin improves to 7-3. And of course, not going to have a lot to talk about for some of these prelim fights, simply because either I don't know a lot about them, or they're making their debut, or they're simply just not notable fights to talk about, like notable fighters. Kind of like this one right here. Chaos Williams, 26 years old, so a fighter to look out for, pretty young, 10-1 versus David Zawada, 17-5. I'm going to go ahead and take the young man in Chaos Williams. He has a cool name. Hope that he wins, and in fact he does, via TKO in 40 seconds. So setting himself up to get a nice 25K, nice performance of the night bonus for Chaos Williams is surely in his grasp, and that's his UFC debut as well. So what a way to start, getting a 40-second TKO victory. Next, we have Viviane Araujo taking on Ji-yeon Kim, 9-2-2, taking on 8-2. I'm going to go ahead and take the young woman, Viviane. Shorter by 2 inches, but I think she might just have a little bit too much here for Ji-yeon Kim, as she actually gets submitted in round 3 via armbar with only 36 seconds left to go in the fight. So Ji-yeon Kim improves to 10-2-2, gets her 10th win of her career. And she's not the greatest talker in the world, but apparently she's very photogenic. So good for her. All right, next is Carol Rosa taking on Veronica Macedo. The Brazilian and the Venezuelan going head-to-head. So only 25 years old against 24 years old. So a couple young guns here in the bantamweight division, as it's Macedo who comes out on top via unanimous decision. It was a pretty good fight. And she has a lot of natural charisma and shines in the interview settings. And so now a fight at flyweight, and not a lot of flyweight fights going along. So whoever wins is basically going to be ranked, as we have Alexander Doskolchuk at 10-2 taking on undefeated Ronaldo Candido at 6-0. And I'm going to go ahead and go with the undefeated fighter. I'm going to pick that he goes out on top, and he does, in fact. 148 submission victory, a good showing, and keeps his undefeated record at 7-0, and maybe he might get a performance bonus. You never know. A minute 48 gets a submission victory. Up next, Khalil Roundtree, who I believe is retiring after his next fight in real life, taking on Justin Ledet. All right, looks like it's a pretty even fight between the two of these. A 6-inch advantage, however, for Justin Ledet. So I'm going to pick him simply because of the height advantage. And he has, I was going to say he has a little bit more experience, but it's actually Khalil Roundtree who has one more fight than him, 2 more fights than him. Actually, no, they have the exact same amount of fights. As let's go ahead and see, and it's Roundtree who wins via unanimous decision. So 9-4-1 against, 9-4-1. And let's see what Roundtree says. Does he challenge anybody? And he wants to fight Jim Crute next. So that might be pretty interesting to see, as we are now at the main card of this fight night. And the first fight is Tisha Torres taking on Angela Hill. Angela Hill in real life is a very good commodity to the UFC because she takes a lot of fights on short notice. So you'll definitely ingratiate yourself with the higher ups if you do, things like that all the time. And she definitely has proven that she's a good commodity to keep. And she actually wins via TKO in round 2. So a good showing for Angela Hill, improving now to 13-7, and probably going to go into the top 15 now of the strawweight division. And she would like to fight Livia Renata Sosa next. So Angela Hill getting a big win. Up next is Gokhan Saki, the kickboxer, as he takes on Gian Vellante. Gokhan Saki only 1-2. Of course, only 3 fights to his name. As we take a look here, only 1 win and 1 loss to Khalil Roundtree. High-level national, though, is apparently his popularity. But I mean, look at that. I can't imagine he's going to win. Gian Vellante, just a better, well-rounded fighter. And I think he's going to go ahead and take the action. No! Gokhan Saki knocks out Gian Vellante in round number 2 via punch. So looking good on him. Gian Vellante, was he ranked coming into this? He was not. So nothing too terrible, but Gokhan Saki getting his 2nd win of his MMA career via knockout as well. Up next, Ed Shortfuse Herman taking on Smilin' Sam Alvey. A couple of gingers going at it here on the main card. I'm going to go ahead and pick Ed Herman. Alvey's been kind of on a skid, as it's actually Alvey who takes the win. Alvey's actually fighting this weekend. He's actually fighting against Ryan Spann this weekend. I think Spann is going to win that fight, but Alvey able to get the unanimous decision here on this UFC on ESPN Fight Night. Remember, on the main ESPN channel, not on ESPN Plus. So a lot more people are going to be able to watch this fight card. All right, all 7 feet of Stefan Struve is taking on Tai Tuivasa. I'm going to go ahead and pick Stefan Struve. I mean, a good 10 inches taller than Tai Tuivasa. I think that reach will probably just be a little bit too much. Probably just point decision, as he does actually win via submission, rear naked choke, literally halfway through round number 1. So I mean, he gets it done, and Tuivasa is now 8-4, and I think that's his 3rd straight loss in a row. All right, inviting everyone out to a party, as we are now at our co-main events of the evening. It's Rafael Dos Anjos taking on Gunnar Gunny Nelson. All right, so the co-main event up next, RDA taking on Gunny Nelson. This was a tough call. 2 inches of height for Gunny Nelson, a little bit younger. I don't know. I think RDA might pull this one out, though. He's a veteran. I hate the mustache, but I'm going to go ahead and go for him anyways. As actually, it's Gunnar Nelson who wins the fight via TKO in what was apparently a fantastic fight. So maybe that working with Connor and SBG Ireland is kind of working in his favor a little bit. You never know. And he was glad that he was able to win such an entertaining fight, and so am I. You always love to see those kind of fights. All right, so now at the main event of the evening, ALISTAIR Overeem taking on Junior Cigano dos Santos. Take a look at both of these men here. Dos Santos coming off 2 straight losses to Francis Ngannou and Curtis Blades. Before that, he beat Derek Lewis. And Overeem is coming off a loss to Jair Rosenstrike via knockout. Remember, I think he had a big chunk of his, was it his ear or his, I think it was his ear. Like a big chunk of his ear was just basically ripped off. He beat Alexei Olninik and Sergey Pavlovich before that. But before that, he lost to Curtis Blades in terrible fashion. Just got absolutely decimated via TKO. A bunch of elbows from hellbows, if you will. All right, so main event time. It says that Cigano dos Santos is favored. So let's go ahead. I think I'm going to go with dos Santos as well. As we start our main events, Mario Yamasaki, the referee, you don't like to see that. Someone's in big danger here. 25 pounds Overeem has on Dos Santos. Overeem is a big dude. I remember the first time that I actually heard of Overeem was when he fought against Brock Lesnar back in 2011, and he just destroyed him. It was ridiculous how badly he beat him up. Of course, diverticulitis might have had something to do with that. Overeem collapses. That shot knocked him out. And your winner via knockout in the first round is Junior Dos Santos. Oh, wow. So dispatching of Overeem in round number 1. And what a way to do it. And he wants Francis Ngannou. Wow. Ngannou, of course, in game and in real life is fighting against Rosenstrike. But, I mean, what a way to end the night there. Commercial rating of 96, critical rating of 77, and just a great card overall. The last 3 fights of the afternoon were at least great, and a couple of first-round stoppages as well. And that increased our popularity by a good amount as well. You love to see that. If we're able to get our popularity up, that'll mean more people are going to be wanting to watch us. So that's only good news for us here. So let's go ahead and see what we want to do here. It says that fight between Gunnar Nelson and RDA was the fight of the night, and it looks like it's going to be just that. But as for the bonuses, let's go ahead and give one of those to Chaos Williams, who had that 40-second TKO victory. And let's see, who else do we give one to? Maybe Stefan Struve? He's probably on a lot of money already, so we don't necessarily want to give him a lot. Maybe Ronaldo Candido. Let's go ahead and give one to Ronaldo Candido. An extra 25K for him for getting that first round submission. All right, there we go. All right, so we took a loss on this fight card of $46,000. As you can see, we made a lot of money on the advertisements, $1.8 million, but we also spent $2.7 million on the fighters alone. But that's okay because these guys are on their default contracts, and those are the actual contracts that they get, not the contracts that are given in game. Because in game, the contracts are not that expensive. Like, it's not very realistic, but they're not contracts that would be given to the real fighters, because their worth in game versus their worth in real life is definitely not the same. As you can see, I have a couple fighters that are only making like $800 to $1,000 a fight, and that's about normal in game. But as far as the other guys, like Ed Herman making 38,000, Sam Alvey making 40,000, like that's not gonna happen for a long time. And because of that, almost all of our fighters are making that kind of money. And so we might see a loss on a majority of our fight cards until a lot of these guys are getting new contracts. Like Gokhan Saki getting 144,000. He's not getting that in his next contract. He's probably going to be worth about 2,000 a fight, if any, if that. You know what I mean? Obviously, in real life, you're probably not going to want to fight for anything less than $10,000, but that's just not how the economics of this game work. And I could always set a little bit of a challenge for myself by forcing myself to have like a minimum, you know what I mean, like a minimum contract that I would have to give out. But that wouldn't be that hot. That wouldn't be $10,000 for sure. It would probably be like 2,000, 3,000. But yeah, a lot of these guys just aren't going to be making the money that they're making after a couple of fights. So we're going to go ahead and update the rankings, and then we are going to end the episode here. A little bit of a shorter episode, but I kind of like that. I mean, once we do all the booking, all that we really need to do is kind of just, bang out all these fight cards, and they're typically going to be only around 20 to 25-minute videos. And that's okay because we still have the big, booking streams that we're going to be able to do where I kind of just take my time going over why I'm booking certain things. And of course the pay-per-views, which are probably going to be about an hour long just because, you run the little promo video in the beginning, and then I kind of have a little bit of talking to do about the save and things of that nature. But nonetheless, here we are at the end of the fight card. Dos Santos winning via knockout over ALISTAIR OVEREEM. As we're just going to take a little bit of time to process these shows. Of course, right now it is currently Thursday, tomorrow is Friday, and then the day after that is UFC 249, and I am extremely excited for that. Let me know down in the comments what your predictions are for that fight night that we actually have on Saturday, I should say. Let me know. Who do you guys think is going to win, Tony Ferguson or Justin Gaethje? I personally have Tony Ferguson winning via submission in round number 4. And obviously, Sunday I'll probably have an upload where I go over UFC 249 and talk about the things that I saw. So, it's kind of nice that I'm able to kind of use this platform to kind of get my points across, my thoughts across about MMA and things of that nature. Don't necessarily want it to become like a daily thing where I just talk about all things MMA because there's not necessarily much going on, in the world of MMA. But I mean, it's kind of nice that I'm able to get my thoughts out. A couple things that I'm also interested in. I mean, I kind of watch wrestling from time to time, like pro wrestling. Let me know down in the comments if you guys are fans of wrestling. I tried to get into podcasting and talking about wrestling back when I was like super obsessed with it, but now I kind of just follow it, watch the pay-per-views, that kind of thing. But yeah, when I was like a teenager, I was like heavily obsessed, like looking at all the news, looking at all the rumor mills, things like that. Now, occasionally I'll go on Reddit, check out, things, rumors of people that are coming back, signings, things like that. But I'm not super as into it as I used to be. And it just sucks because there's not very much to talk about in terms of sports, for that matter, just because of, everything that's going on currently. Let's see. Nothing that we can really do. Hope you guys are all staying safe at home. Hope you guys are all having a good time. And let's do another question down in the comments. What is your guys' favorite quarantine snack? So what are you guys eating the most at home right now that we're not allowed to go out and eat, obviously? I'm kind of big on cereal. I know that doesn't necessarily sound like a snack, but if there's nothing really that that I really want to eat, and I'm like a little bit hungry but not like meal hungry, I'll get like a little bowl of it's Captain Crunch, but it's not necessarily Captain Crunch. It's kind of like an off-brand Captain Crunch, and that's my favorite cereal at the moment. Other than that, I also really like Vanilla Chex. I don't know. I'm kind of just finding random things to talk about at this point because the loading is just continuously going on. That's the one thing that does suck though about like when you run Saturdays in game, they do take forever. just because everyone's trying to hire people and everyone's, you know, having a fight cards. So yeah, because like right around now would be the time where if I were to have a pretty decent audience on Twitch, I'd probably be talking to everybody. But not a lot of people in the stream right now. Only two, as a matter of fact. All right. So it looks like we're just about done as we are here at Sunday. And Bellator is actually running a fight card tonight on Sunday. So we're going to go ahead and take a look. Michael Chandler has been booked. All right. And we got a lot of people getting approached by various organizations. Archuleta, Pitbull, and McFarland have all been booked. So let's go ahead and see if we want to re-sign some of these people. Carol Rosa. Yeah, she's only had 2 fights. She won once. Kukui cost you $5. Kukui cost you $5. Oh, that's right, because you bet on Tony. But I think I lost too because I think I said I had Korean Zombie winning and he didn't. So I guess we're technically even because you had Korean. Yeah, we draw. So no one owes anybody money. We can do it next time, next pay-per-view. Let's see. Carol Rosa, we're going to go ahead and re-sign her for 2 more fights. And like I mentioned, Carol Rosa, we're only paying her $900 a fight. If that was anybody else, like right now, they're probably making $10,000, which just isn't going to cut it. Like, I would not, if it was $10,000 that she wanted, we would not re-sign Carol Rosa. But because it's like $900, sure, we'll go and keep you around. Lost to Chaos Williams, 1-3 in the UFC. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. So everyone in the chat, wave goodbye to David Zawada. Hopefully he can get a couple more wins under his belt elsewhere, but as for now, we are no longer needing his services. Gokhan Saki. See, this is the thing. He wants $31,000 a fight. He's high-level national, so he might be good to keep around, but he's like nowhere near like the caliber that we need him to be at. Like, as you can see, we don't even know very much about him. And his marketability is actually weak. So is it even worth keeping him around just because he's popular? His striking is strong, his wrestling is average, but he's not very marketable, and he's just popular. Like, he's popular in America, but he's 2-2. I mean, he wants $31,000 a fight, so it's hard to justify. But right now, since we're not as popular as we would like to be, because he's popular, we'll keep him. But if it was just him being popular and he wanted that much money and he was 2-2 and we were like high-level international, at that point we'll probably have, enough fighters that are popular to where we don't need to keep him. But for now, no, not 6 fights. You can have 2 fights, but we'll give you $33,000. How about that? Okay, cool. So guaranteed 2 fights for him at $33,000. It's a lot, but it is what it is. By the time he finishes that second fight, I'd imagine that will be popular, though. All right, Veronica Macedo coming off a win. So we'll go ahead and keep her around. 3 fights guaranteed. Okay. Keeping Veronica. Gunnar Nelson, of course, just beating RDA. He might be in the top 15 now. Let's see, what has he been up to? I know he's coming off 2. Yeah, so he lost 2 straight. Leon Edwards and Gilbert Burns. Both pretty good losses, I'd say, because Gilbert Burns is proving to be pretty good. Beat Cowboy Oliveira. And just beating RDA. So, I mean, pretty good win for him. Mid-level national. You love to see that. $24,000 a fight. That's pretty good because how much was he making before? How do I check that? Achievements. So, yeah. So, he's on 122,000, but that's not including his 25,000 bonus and then also his win bonus. So if we take out the 25,000, that brings him to around 90. And so that means that he was basically on like $45,000 a fight, and now he's going to be on 24. So that's saving us quite a bit of money. We'll go ahead and keep. How old is he? He's 31. So 3 years he'll be 34. Yeah, we'll go ahead and give him 4 fights. That's a pretty decent price to keep him at. $24,000, $50,000 if he wins. All right, Tisha Torres. Now she's coming off consecutive losses. She's 10-6, but she's ranked, and she might actually not be ranked if we update the rankings. Once you get the company up to low level international, you'll start getting better money on pay per views. Yeah. Um, so with the last pay per view that I ran, I only made about $3 million, which in no way would be what it would do if it was in real life. I mean, I'd imagine Habib and Tony were probably about to do 700 buys, 700,000 buys. It wasn't going to do anything like 2 million like Connor, but it was going to be a good amount of buys. Probably around 700,000, I'd imagine. Because first of all, it's a Habib fight, and then second of all, this fight was really highly anticipated. And by highly anticipated, I sadly don't mean by like the mainstream like audience, but MMA, like, and the MMA crowd has wanted this fight for so long. And it sucks that we're not going to get it, but that was definitely going to be a fight that anyone who's like a decent MMA fan was going to buy that. So, like I mentioned, probably around 700 to 800,000. I had one that would have gotten me 5 mil, but Connor took 12, so I lost 7. He took 12 million? Like, he took $12 million. Did you have him on like 100% bonuses for everything? Or how did that happen? Because I don't think you can even. Yeah, he won the belt. So you're telling me that what was the amount that you had on him, like his base salary? Because I don't think you can offer any more than $999,999 for their base pay. His default 50% for everything, but what was his base pay? It's the default from this mod. Oh, so it might actually be just 999,999. Let me check. Oh shit, it's 2.5 million. Wow. I did not even know that you could pay somebody that much because I don't think that because they won't ask for that. I think someone who's even high level international like him, the most he will ask for is like 450,000, which is in no way like which is in no way real. And I wish there was sliders of some kind where the fighters would demand like more money. Um, because that's strange. So, oh wow, so that's his default. Huh? Hold on. Oh wow, yeah. So 2.5, and if he wins, it's 5. He main events. That's 7.5. Being on pay per view, that's 10. Being on TV, he won't be on TV. Being in a title fight would make it like 11.25. And then if he were to win the title, it would be like 13. Yeah, you are right. I mean, I guess that's realistic though for Connor. He would be taking home a lot of cheddar. He would. That's crazy, but I mean, hey, it's realistic. Plus pay per view. By plus pay per view, do you mean like pay per view points, or what do you mean by that? Like he gets a chunk of the pay per view, or what? Or do you just mean like the pay per view bonus that I just mentioned? The bonus, right? All right. Thanks for joining, by the way, Cornflakes. Always nice to see you around. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So yeah, Tisha Torres. Let's see. So yeah, coming off a loss and high level regional. So she probably won't be ranked. Well, we'll go and keep her around for 3 more fights. That's doable, and because like I'm pretty sure she was on like 10,000. So let's see achievements. Total earnings of 24,000. So Tisha Torres was on 24,000 a fight, and now we're only giving her 3,000. So I mean, the Connor, contract is obviously poopy because we're gonna have to pay him out a lot. But contracts like these where we're saving like $30,000 a fight, it doesn't seem like that much, but for every single fighter, eventually we'll be saving like $50,000 a fight on every single contract, and that's super important because you have shitty fighters right now that are making like 45,000 a fight base pay. 3 shows remaining for Rede Globo. Thank you for reminding me. Let's go and take care of that now. That's our main source of income in in Brazil. An extension request has been made. All right, so that's the end of this episode. Let's go ahead and look at the rankings, and then after this, it's gonna be my big, stream where I go through all of my booking, because we are going to be booking the entirety of August. So if you are watching in the stream right now, don't leave. I'm just gonna stop recording, and then I'm gonna continue recording, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go through all of my booking. All right, so updating the rankings, 3, 2, 1. And Junior Dos Santos is the #1 contender, technically, for the heavyweight division. And see, beat ALISTAIR OVEREEM, who's number 10. He was ranked number 7. So I don't know if that necessarily puts him in line for a title shot. It's Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis. I'd say that if Ngannou wins that fight, he would be the #1 contender. But Dos Santos is on a little bit of a winning streak. So hey, why not? Curtis Blades, who is he taking on? He's fighting Rosenstrike. 5 taking on 9. So yeah, I'd say Ngannou. But if Ngannou loses to Derek Lewis, I'd say that it's Dos Santos, because I think Derek Lewis would still need one more big win before he's worthy of a title shot. Of course, we know John Jones is fighting against Blachowicz. Ozdemir, I'm going to have him fight against Gustafsson. That might be one that we book for the next batch of fight cards. At middleweight, we know that Adesanya is fighting against Paulo Costa, so watch out for that. We also have I'm supposed to be going over the updates. We have Sam Alvey moving up 1 spot, and then Ankalaev enters the rankings. And then at heavyweight, also we have Overeem dropping down to 14, and then Tuivasa dropping to 17. Stefan Struve moves up to 15. All right, nothing at middleweight. At welterweight, we have Gunnar Nelson entering the top 10. Look at that, Gunny Nelson. Where all my Icelandic folks at? In the top 10 after beating RDA. You love to see that. And then we have Luque, Perry, Neal, and Cowboy Oliveira, and Rocco Martin moving up. And then RDA all the way down to 23rd. Yikes. This is a former champion, guys. No movement at lightweight. Featherweight, no movement. No movement at bantamweight. At flyweight, we have a lot of movement. Askarov, McCall, Doskalchuk goes down. Candido undefeated, winning over Doskalchuk at number 22, and then a couple more guys going down. Women's featherweight, we have no movement. Women's bantamweight, we have Gatto, Cortez, and Mello all going up, and then Carol Rosa goes down. Jeon Kim is now ranked at 19 following her win. We have Moto Dern, and then Moreau's going down, and then Viviane Araujo gets ranked at 23rd. At strawweight, Angela Hill making a big leap. She is now in the top 13. Angela Hill, a couple of people going down. Tisha Torres all the way down to number 25 in the strawweights. Of course, Rose Namajunas, spoiler alert, after winning her fight over Jessica Andrade in the pay-per-view. How long is she out for? She's out for 13 days. That's great. So that gives us a good indication on when we can book Weili Zhang for that title fight, and it's pretty soon. So Zhang versus Rose Namajunas is the fight to make at strawweight. At flyweight, of course, we know it's Shevchenko versus Calderwood. Amanda Nunes will be taking on Aspen Ladd, but she also has Felicia Spencer, so it's one of those two that she'll be taking on next. All right, so it looks like that's going to do it for this episode. Once again, my next episode, I will be going through the entirety of August. I'm going to be booking all of it, and I'm happy that I'm able to do that for you guys. Let me know down in the comments what you've been thinking thus far, and also let me know if you would rather I just, straight up, didn't mean to burp there. If you would rather I just quick fire, just release all these episodes, just keep recording them, or would you rather I stream them like I am right now? I do enjoy streaming, even though it's the same couple of, 3, 4, 5 people that come through all the time. I do enjoy doing it, and I enjoy engaging with you guys in the streams as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stop right here. I will see you guys in the next episode where I book the entirety of August. Be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to click the bell on the bottom so that way you guys get notifications whenever my videos go live. AZPlow21 signing off, and I will see you guys next time.